One of the tremendous things about computers is that they keep very accurate records. And in fact, they keep records of any modification made to a file. Now, this wasn't always the case. Some of you might remember those days where we had to save every 20 minutes to make sure we didn't lose data. Now many programs have autosave features. This includes all of your web-based platforms, anything you find in Microsoft 365. Google's Docs, Sheets, and Forms also have autosave features. What we're going to explain today is how you can look back at the archive of these autosaves. This is called the version history. And we can find out who's been accessing that file, and if needed, we can go back and restore a file to a previous version. So let's look at what version history looks like in a Google slide. Now we can go to File, and you can do this in any Google Education Suite application. You go to version history, and you notice that it's gray. Well, this means that we haven't done anything, we just opened the file. But as soon as we start making modifications, adding media, it keeps a record of everything that has been done to this Google slide. And so we'll be able to see as we make changes that we have created a history. So no matter what the change we make, we can always go back to an earlier version of it. Now we go to File, and now we can see that the version history is in black, and we can select it, and now we can choose an earlier version of this document. We click on Restore, and it asks us one more time if we'd like to restore. We click on Restore, and it brings back the original version. Now obviously this document doesn't have a lot of history, so we can only go back and forth a couple of times. Now let's look at what version history looks like in Microsoft 365. Here we're opening up a paper, and as soon as we go to File and then Info, we see the version history option. And this document has been saved quite a bit of times. If we go back to November 7th in the morning, we can see that it started off as a title page. And as we explore the different saves or autosaves, we notice that the document is growing. We go to the most recent, and we can see the final paper. In the Google Classroom, anytime we create an assignment and we choose the option of making a copy for each student, that copy is saved to our Google Drive, and we have access to all of those files. And because we have access to all those files, we also have access to the version history. Here we can see some journal files that I've created for my students. Now, every week they're expected to do some writing. And so this is my teacher example, and this is how I show them the different modifications I'd like for them to make. And when I go to my version history, I can see that this file was created back in early September. And so what I try to tell the students is that when I ask them to write in their journal, what I expect is to see some sort of change in the version history. Now this is very helpful when students say that they have been working on it, and I can go back and check. Now this is extremely helpful when students make mistakes and they accidentally erase something and they don't realize that they can go back and they can change it. So this has really been a very helpful tool. So remember, version history works with both Google and Microsoft Office 365. This autosave feature allows us to restore files from previous versions. When we use this in the Google Classroom, this means that we can monitor file access. This encourages student accountability. By holding students accountable for working on their files, we can monitor their progress throughout the 6 weeks. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson about version history. If you have any questions or comments, send me an email and I'll be happy to answer them for you.